Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am so happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for the opportunity to just deal with me. I'm happy and grateful to walk out another day of health, wealth, and prosperity. I'm just happy and grateful today. I tell you guys all the time, I don't take days for granted. I don't take them lightly because I firmly believe that if we could be happy and grateful for life, we would learn how to be happy and grateful for one another. Okay, we would learn how to love and walk in love and just be grateful because somewhere someone does not have today. So we can't take days lightly and we can't take them for granted. I do not want to belabor the time. We will start with our self-confidence formula. I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. The dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person that I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture. I know through the theory of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek some expression through some practical means of obtaining the object or position I desire. I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim, and I will never stop trying until I develop sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. I realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. I will engage in no transaction that will not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces that I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve them. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, for I know that a negative attitude towards others will never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. As I tell you guys all the time, we want to get to the point where we memorize at least 1 through 3. We got to memorize the whole thing, but just be intentional to really speak it. Repetition is key. Okay. Repetition is key. When we repeatedly do things, it will become a habit. When you repeatedly affirm yourself, it will be what you have faith to believe about yourself. So we've gone over the self-confidence formula, and thank you guys for who has reached out to me. I'm glad that putting the post on YouTube has been helpful. Please go back and listen to it as many times as you need to. I know for me, even though I'm doing them, I go back because, as I state all the time, Jehovah God is who I serve. And one thing that I've noticed, or I know, is even in the time of sharing, I give you what I believe he gives me, but every time I go back, I get something too. Okay. None of us are exempt from this process. So we've dealt with the self-confidence formula. We dealt with the 5 points, and now we are dealing with things that'll help us as we're building our self-confidence. So we did affirmations. We talked about, keeping our environment healthy. Today on Friday, because I want you guys to have some time to chew on this one, but I believe it's most relevant. It's like, what is it? We have to be able to forgive. I'm going to pause on that. We have to be able to forgive, okay? And I was looking up the definition, but I ran across something that I thought was very interesting. And it says, psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness or not. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing offenses. Okay. So while we're building and we're working on our self-confidence, we have to forgive. Okay. So if you're taking notes, if anyone or anything just popped in your head, write it down. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. Because we know that, one, unforgiveness shall not enter in. Okay. We understand that our time here is our journey. All right. This is the journey to the destiny. And again, whatever spiritual higher power you believe in, I believe in Jehovah God. I do believe that there is a heaven and hell. I do believe that right now this journey is preparing me for my destiny. My eternity is not here, okay? But it is preparing me. And one thing is, God judges us by our heart, okay? Where does unforgiveness sit? It sits in your heart, all right? So you have to think about, unforgiveness isn't even for that person, it's for you. So if anyone thought of someone, as I said that, it was like, oh, no, ma'am, because you don't know what they did to me. You're right, I don't. But what I do know is anything that takes us in a place where we lose control of ourselves is controlling us, okay? So if there's something in your heart where you can't forgive, it may be yourself, all right? I had to realize that I needed to forgive Nicole, okay? I needed to forgive me. I couldn't understand, I thought that I was good on forgiving. I thought that because I continued to, I accept someone's apology, continue to talk to them, didn't throw them away, all this stuff in my head, I believe that I forgave. But as time has gone on, I realized that I didn't forgive them. I just became more bitter and resentful. But I couldn't even blame them. All right. The first thing I had to realize is I needed to forgive me about some things. Now, I don't know about you all, but as I look back over my life and over things that I've done, I'm not perfect. And there were things that I did that I had to forgive myself for. Okay. I had to be free from that bondage, because a lot of times we put ourselves in this place of bondage, and then anyone who actually comes in and they look like it, or it begins to feel the same way, we're now angry, bitter, and resentful with them when we got to understand the root. Okay. And as we're dealing with this self-confidence formula, like I've told you before, we got to learn how to deal with the root of what's going on with us. All right. But what's going to stop us from the things that we desire, what's going to stop us from the things that we believe that we deserve, is unforgiveness. Okay. When you think about maybe why there are repetitive cycles in your life, maybe it's because you get to a certain point and then there's unforgiveness there, all right? Which then makes you retract, okay? Sometimes we can't get to the next step because we haven't forgiven ourselves for something that we did, and it doesn't even have to be consciously. It has to be it could be subconscious, because remember we talked about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, which is why we're affirming ourselves. And one thing that I want you to be aware of is, as we're walking out this self-confidence formula and we're believing things for ourselves, there are going to be things that come up that residue is going to make you feel like you're not worthy or you don't deserve X, Y, and Z. But we got to be willing to, at that moment, Jot it down, write it down, be willing to go back to it and figure out what is it that's clogging me with my moving forward. Okay. Like I've told y'all before, there's a lot of things that I felt guilty about because as I'm growing, I'm understanding some of the issues that I had myself. Forgive me, my dad, that's probably my dad. But I have understood that there are some things that, hold on, I'm sorry. James, y'all, I got a whole husband. I told y'all I really did. He really does exist. Y'all gonna see him walk by. Can you grab the doorbell? Please, so he'll stop. But I've had to see, y'all, he's real. But I've had to understand that there are things that I didn't forgive myself for, because unconsciously I remember I used to always say that there were certain things that my mom did that I wasn't going to do. But we're creatures of habit. So in my parenting, there were things that I did that growing up, I was just like, I wasn't going to do it. But I did it very unconsciously. And I walked around with a lot of guilt in that for a long time. But as I started building my confidence, as I started believing in the things that I deserve, I started realizing that I had that in me, okay? And I had to forgive myself. Now, walking out forgiveness, it's a process, okay? It's a process, but it is the beginning of your healing, and it's mandatory, all right? Because if God judges us by the heart and there are things in our heart that disconnect us from him, that's what we have to understand. And I began to understand that unforgiveness is for me. So even if my children still don't see it, I can't be caught on the emotional side, and I have to be intentional to continue to do and be the best that I can be. Okay. Parenting didn't come with a manual, guys. All right. So we try to be the best we can be. Now, when it goes to forgiving others, all right, you've got to be willing to forgive other people. You've got to be willing to give other people grace. Because here's the deal. If you keep your eyes on you long enough, you'll understand that you need grace. And if you want grace on your life, you got to be willing to give grace to people. That's the forgiveness. You got to be able to begin the process of forgiving, okay? And just like it said in what I read, forgiveness doesn't mean that you have to stay in that situation. It doesn't, it means none of that, all right? Forgiveness is a posture of your heart. It is us getting to the point where we're not allowing anything to be in the way of what's going to allow us to walk out this self-confidence formula, what's going to allow us to allow our visions, our goals, all these things come to pass. It's for you. All right. And the more you forgive, the more you begin to love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more you will become confident. The more confident you become, the more you're able to walk this out. Okay? So we have to understand that forgiveness is for me. Forgiveness is for you. It is for you to be healthy. It is for you not to be the toxic person in everything that may transpire. Because I told you, we're not the problem. We're the solution in all things. We are healthy. We are wealthy. We are prosperous. And we will not allow unforgiveness to stop or to block that. All right. Right. So you have to also understand that, unforgiveness, it comes from the things that we're not supposed to harbor in order for the self-confidence formula to come to pass. Okay. You can't harbor bitterness and resentment in your heart and expect blessings. They don't go together. All right. And you got to remember, what do I tell you guys? We are healthy. We are wealthy. We are prosperous. Everything that our hands touch, it must prosper and grow. So we don't want to prosper and grow bitterness. We don't want to prosper and grow resentment, because it's going to boomerang back and it's going to hit us. All right. We want to walk in a posture of submission and humility. We submit and we're humble. Okay. We submit and we walk out humility. Okay. In doing this, you're going to get back what you're putting out. But we got to start with the matters of the heart. Okay. We can't walk through this journey looking at people side-eye, crooked-eyed, putting on a facade, but yet your heart is so far away. You hurt yourself that way. All right. You can't find the peace that'll surpass your understanding until you're willing to do this. And I purposely waited till Friday to talk about unforgiveness because one or two things will happen. But I hope both of them happen though. All right. One, it'll give you time to look at yourself. It'll give you time to peel back a layer of this onion. It'll give you time to think about whoever popped in your head, okay? Because we want true forgiveness. We want it to come from the heart. So, and some of it, we got to have faith to believe that we're going to forgive, and we got to ask Jehovah God to help us with our unbelief. Help us with our belief. Help me believe that I can forgive this person and be okay with the process of that. Because the first step is trying. The first step is acknowledging, okay? So I want you to take this time, whoever may have came up in your head, or even if you're dealing with yourself and you're starting to see where the root of this, your unforgiveness comes from, process that thing out. We talked about our safe places. If you got to reach out to your safe place, reach out to your safe place. But I hope you guys can still hear me. I have no idea what just happened. Hopefully you guys are still on here. I guess this is good because I don't know what that was. All right. I'm hoping y'all can hear me. But when things like that happen, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. All that tells me is this is for someone. If it's for no one else, it's for me. Okay. And if it messes up, I'll record something else and still put it on the YouTube. Okay. But what I want y'all to get, I said one or two things. I hope both things happen. One is that you really take time to see what may be in your heart and what may be stopping you when it comes to forgiveness. Okay. I'm hoping you do that. Two, I'm hoping that if you're upset with me right now, you got 3 days to forgive me, give me grace, and come on and meet me again on Monday. All right? Because I'm doing this for me and for you. I just want what's best for everybody. I want what's best for me. All right? I want what's best for you. And I firmly understand that unforgiveness will block us from the things that we desire. Unforgiveness will block us from everything. The reason we come together 3 days a week. So we've got to deal with that, okay? We got to deal with that. I don't know what's going on with the internet because now I see my other things have stopped as well. But again, I just wanted to make sure that you were able to hear that, okay? Unforgiveness is for you. It's for you. And when you forgive, it does not mean you have to stay in that situation or that thing. It is to free your heart, okay? It's to free you. And this is something that we've got to walk out. We've got to continue to walk it out. It's nothing that stops, all right? And as things begin to come up, and they come up to free you. They come up for you to continue to be the best you. So we got to be able to take the things that are uncomfortable with the things that are going to be magnified and glorified. Because our process, as long as we don't abort it, it will make us the best us. It makes me the best me. Okay? So again, hopefully I'm not talking to myself. I told you guys I can't see it either way. But to God be the glory either way. I'm so okay with it. Somebody will be blessed on the recording. If you have not already, go to my YouTube. I am Nicole D. Jones, and write it out like a sentence. So you have to put the spaces. I am Nicole D. Jones. I am putting these on the YouTube channel so that you can go back and see them. And definitely make sure, like I said, you just walk out forgiveness. Okay. And I'll give you the Webster Dictionary version of forgive as well. It's to cease to feel resentment against an offender. It's to give up resentment of or claim to requital. To grant relief from payment of, okay, like forgiving a debt. But we have to make sure that we walk in forgiveness, okay? Because, you know, forgiveness brings stress. Stress brings illness. Illness brings all kinds of stuff. And that's just not who we're created to be, all right? We're created to love. And when you go into the self-confidence formula, you can't even say number 5 with confidence. You can't live it out if you have unforgiveness in your heart, okay? So, again, I am Nicole D. Jones. I am happy and grateful that you take 30 minutes of your morning to come and be an accountability partner for me, to me. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. I appreciate the support. Like I tell you guys all the time, I believe through this journey, if we can deal with our mindset, the things that hinder us, we can get education along the way, stay accountable to one another. Our lifestyle can do nothing but show what it is that we're putting our best effort to. All right. So I am Nicole D. Jones. Remember to stay humble, stay focused, stay positive. Continue to be unapologetically you, because you are doing it in a posture of humility and submission, not a place of arrogance and pride. Okay. And be willing to pull them layers back and forgive. Start with yourself. And again, anything that comes up, let's just be willing to deal with it head on, because we understand that it is for our best, it's for our glory, it's for our healing, it's for everything that we need first. All right. Have a fantabulous rest of the day. Smooches.